Hey, what's up, good looking? You guys all right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're good, man. Just plugging a few holes, you know?
Hey.
You lucky bastard. What do you say to a bum like him anyway? So what do you say, Paul? Did you give any thought to coming by and reviewing films with me?
That's cool, man. I got my own thing going now.
All right, man. Well, you take care, okay? And don't be so fast and furious from now on. All right, man. I'll see you around. Thanks again. And this is Movie Night. Hello and welcome to Movie Night, the only movie review show not afraid to review 3 box office failures and call it a tribute. My name is Jonathan Paula. Tonight we'll honor the life and work of the late Paul Walker, who died tragically last week. While I absolutely love the Fast and Furious franchise, parts 1 and 6 we've reviewed here on the show, I'll be honest and say that Walker was never my favorite actor. But I was particularly upset when I heard the news last week. By all accounts, he was a good actor and an even better human being, who died driving fast cars and helping a charity event. Which you have to admit, if you have to go, that's a damn fine way to do it. We'll begin tonight with the film Timeline. Released the day before Thanksgiving in 2003. Look, I even have my original ticket stub from that afternoon. This science fiction adventure film sadly only earned back half of its $80 million budget. Director Richard Donner does an excellent job adapting the story, based on the novel by acclaimed writer Michael Crichton, which features a mysterious group of well-funded scientists who inadvertently discover a wormhole to 1357 medieval France. The first 30 minutes are extremely intriguing and well-paced, perfectly establishing the characters and consequences in a believable way. The plot follows a group of resourceful archaeologists who volunteer for a rescue mission, traveling back in time 646 years to save a missing colleague.
And now he's stuck back there.
Well, that's where you all come in.
Do we look like quantum wormhole specialists?
No.
Mr. Ronnigan, you sent the professor to the 100-year war.
That's right.
These are turbulent times you sent him
Yeah,
to.
look, we need cultural experts, not scientists. My people simply don't know about the medieval world or how to mingle with the locals, which is what we're going to have to do if we're going to find the professor and bring him back.
So we're going to bring him back. It's that simple. We just step on that machine out there and just whiz back to 1350-70. Get the professor.
Only once he's broken us into a stream of electrons.
Early in each of their respective careers, this 116-minute movie stars Paul Walker, Frances O'Connor, Gerard Butler, and Neil McDonough, while Ethan Embry, Michael Sheen, Billy Connolly, Anna Friel, and David Thewlis make up the giant supporting cast with effective performances. In parallel narratives, one set during the 100-Year War and the other in a New Mexican science facility, both groups of protagonists are in a literal race against time, else they're trapped forever in the past, especially after Thewlis resigns to failure, coldly asking, how many lives have been lost on the cutting edge of discovery? Now, I'm a sucker for a good time travel story, and this script commendably adheres to a fixed timeline universe, something that pays off with an awesome final scene. But to be honest, a lot of the medieval stuff isn't particularly fascinating. As with most sci-fi, some suspension of disbelief is required, especially regarding the action-packed plot, which supposedly all takes place within just 6 hours, despite being filled with plenty of chases, escapes, battles, and romantic entanglements. Due to unfortunate studio pressure resulting in a re-edit, the film's original score by Jerry Goldsmith, in what would be that renowned composer's final work, was replaced by Brian Tyler, who does manage to provide a very lively and appropriate sound to the film, if forgettable. A simple and easy picture to follow, the cinematography here is solid, and the limited amount of visual effects are also handled well. Rarely impressive, and even a bit hackneyed at times, this PG-13 rated picture is still extremely fun, tightly constructed, and decently memorable. I've watched it every 5 years since its release, and I will likely continue to do so. Timeline. Interesting premise with exciting action. Now let's read some of your reviews from the YouTube comments. Timeline score on the Ratematic, a 6 and an 8. Some mixed opinions for this picture. While some of you enjoyed the action-adventure, others criticized the ho-hum execution, rating it a good. Upon rewatching it recently, this picture is definitely better than I remember. Despite being undemanding and shallow, it's an enjoyable 2 hours. I think it's great. For tonight's poll question, what is your favorite Paul Walker movie? Bonus points if you pick a film outside the Fast and the Furious franchise. Either way, leave your response as a comment below. Next up tonight, Into the Blue. This underwater action film by director John Stockwell was released in September of 2005, and despite earning back only 90% of its $50 million budget, a straight-to-DVD sequel was commissioned anyway. Pretty boy Paul Walker stars as a beach bum in the Bahamas who dreams of finding buried treasure under the ocean, but he unfortunately gets more than he bargained for when he stumbles upon a crashed plane filled with cocaine, mere yards from a real shipwreck filled with actual gold.
Get out of the water, the shark. Get out, there's a shark. Come on, swim. Swim to me, Jared, swim to me. Get out. Come on, get out. What are you laughing at? Get out of the water, there's sharks everywhere, look. Now give me my mask and my fins real quick. You know you don't need a mask, there's a shark, I swear to God, he's big and he looks like Jaws, get out. Yeah, I know, but I lost my watch. You need an arm to wear a watch. Would you get out of the water, stupid, please? Sam just gave me this watch for my birthday. I don't care, Sam! Get him out, what are you doing?
Fine, they're just curious.
Curious as to what? As to what? What does ass taste like? Look at, dude, get out! Serious, oh my God, look at that, that shark.
Handsome and charismatic, Walker is very relatable in the lead, making it easy to root for his success throughout. The PG-13 rated feature also stars the stunningly beautiful Jessica Alba, whose acting isn't nearly as memorable as her perfectly shaped ass in a tight thong bikini. I mean, I hate to objectify women, but I seriously think a majority of the shots in this film were composed just so we could see her plump booty swimming around. Scott Caan is the annoying guy friend who chides Walker into taking unnecessary risks by saying, "Winners make the rules, and losers live by them." A playful Ashley Scott and a cunning Josh Brolin round out the cast with mediocre but serviceable performances, most of which take place under the strikingly blue waters of the Caribbean Ocean. The 110-minute plot moves quickly enough, but the obstacles faced are frustratingly contrived. It's just one bloated and unbelievable development after another, preventing our heroes from simply picking up some artifacts in only 20 feet of water. Beginning as a lighthearted story about ocean dredgers, this well-paced adventure morphs into an exaggerated and overly complicated tale involving drug deals, kidnapping, blackmail, shark attacks, backstabbing, violent harpoon attacks, and one massive underwater explosion. Considering much of this picture takes place beneath the waves, I was genuinely pleased at how well it was able to maintain tension in the absence of dialogue, especially one scene where Caan is trapped on the seafloor while inquisitive Marine officers threaten the operation above. Paul Hasingler's score helps ratchet the tension in these otherwise silent sequences, and generally I enjoyed this movie's fast and loose approach. It's the type of movie you'd catch on basic cable and end up enjoying more than you thought you would. With some beautiful visuals and even prettier women, this is a fun action movie, but little else. Into the Blue. Disposable story, great underwater excitement. My score on the Rate-O-Matic, a 5. I'm not eager to rewatch this one, but it was harmless entertainment that was never completely predictable or familiar. I thought it was alright. A quick reminder now to check out the Movie Night Archive channel for my exclusive trailer commentaries. This week I reviewed the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer, and an easily searchable library of all our past reviews. My final review tonight is for Running Scared. This $15 million gritty and violent crime film from director Wayne Kramer failed to earn a profit when it was released in February of 2006. Playing against his typical pretty boy typecast, Paul Walker contributes perhaps the best performance of his unfortunately short career. He stars as a low-level player in the New Jersey mob, who despite being mixed up in some awful stuff, is otherwise an honest, family-loving man with a strong moral compass. A young Cameron Bright, the beautiful Vera Farmiga, the sexy Elizabeth Mitchell, the devilish John Noble, and a dozen other character actors make up the talented supporting cast. A bizarre altercation involving attempted murder at Walker's next-door neighbor finds him in a frenzy to cover up his involvement and protect his family during one long night of wild events, from a gang shootout to defending a prostitute to robbing a pharmacy.
I can't breathe. I gotta find this kid. I gotta find this kid tonight. Nick, I need to know places, all right? I need to know hideouts. Go to your room right now and make a list. Nick, make a list.
Okay.
I'm not f***ing around, Nick.
Joe, just take it easy.
There's no f***ing time. I want you to wait next door. And the second he shows up, call me.
The extremely R-rated experience is a dirty and loud one, with Kramer utilizing snap zoom, slow motion, and carefully constructed camera moves to expertly bring the crime-filled hellholes to life. The minimalistic and droning score from Mark Isham functions like nails on a chalkboard, keeping you perpetually on edge during the film's more tense moments. The 122-minute story becomes increasingly more convoluted and ridiculous, though, with more coincidences and crossovers than an episode of Seinfeld. But the individual sequences work great, especially when brave housewife Farmiga attempts to save some children from a couple of pedophile kidnappers. She later defends her vigilante actions to Walker by saying, "I have never seen evil before tonight." Fast-moving and visceral when it works, but otherwise scattershot and inconsistent. The movie is capped off by 3 separate endings, each one less believable than the last. When the credits finally rolled, I was left with both a sense of disbelief and surprise. This is a unique and interesting film worth watching at least once, but it's far too ambitious and disjointed for its own good. Running scared, powerful emotions in an unbelievable environment. I'm scoring this as 6 on the Rate-O-Matic. Definitely required viewing for fans of the late Paul Walker or graphic crime thrillers. This is a movie I enjoyed once and will gladly recommend, but beyond that, I only thought it was good. Finally tonight, let's read some tweet critiques. If you see a new movie in theaters, tweet your review with the JPMN hashtag. In an effort to catch up on some work, Movie Night will be off next week, but when we return in 2 weeks' time, we'll be reviewing The Hobbit 2: Desolation of Smaug, the crime drama American Hustle, and Tom Hanks' newest feature, Saving Mr. Banks. All 3 of these pictures will be released on December 13th, so once you watch them, share your opinions by voting in the polls below or by leaving a comment review. If you'd like to watch more episodes of Movie Night, check out the related video links on my right, or click subscribe to be notified of all new content. And be sure to follow me on Twitter or Facebook for updates between episodes. Once again, my name is Jonathan Paula. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, have a good movie night.